Captain Minjun Park stood on the bridge of the silent vigil, watching the chaos unfold on his main screen. The Galactic Council meeting was falling apart. 3 alien species sat around a massive table, their voices growing louder with each passing moment. The Xerions looked like walking tanks. Their gray skin was thick as armor, and their red eyes burned with anger. War Marshal Draceth slammed his fist on the table hard enough to crack the metal surface. "The mining rights belong to us," Draceth roared. "We found those worlds first." Across from him, Ambassador Kethvar of the Altrurians shook his blue-scaled head. His people looked like tall lizards who walked upright. They were traders and diplomats, not fighters. But even Kethvar was losing his patience. "Your people found nothing," Kethvar said in his calm voice. "Our survey ships mapped those systems 2 cycles ago. We have the documents to prove it." At the far end of the table sat Elder Naya of the Zelani. Her people were small and peaceful. They looked almost like humans, but their skin was pale green and their eyes were large and kind. The Zelani had never hurt anyone. They just wanted to live in peace. "Please," Elder Naya said softly. "There are enough resources for everyone. We don't need to fight over this." War Marshal Draceth turned his burning gaze on her. "Your people are weak. The strong should take what they need. That is the natural way." Minjun watched all of this from his hidden ship. The silent vigil was invisible to their sensors. Human technology was far beyond what these younger species could detect. His ship floated in space like a ghost, watching everything. "Captain," said Dr. Sarah Chen from her station. She was the ship's expert on alien cultures. "The talks are breaking down faster than we expected." Minjun nodded. He had been expecting this for months. The 3 species had been moving toward war for years. Humans had watched it all happen. They always watched. That was their job. Humanity had learned long ago that interfering with younger species usually made things worse. They had tried to help once, centuries ago. A promising species called the Athani had begged for human technology to solve their energy crisis. Humans had shared their knowledge freely. The Athani used that technology to build weapons instead of power plants. They destroyed themselves in a war that lasted only 3 days. Every single Athani city was turned to glass. An entire species died because humans had tried to help. After that tragedy, humans made a choice. They would watch over the galaxy in secret. They would learn about other species and protect them when possible. But they would never interfere directly. The cost was too high. Now Minjun commanded one of dozens of human ships spread across the galaxy. Each ship was invisible, monitoring different sectors of space. They were guardians that nobody knew existed. "Sir," called out Lieutenant Kim from the sensor station, "I'm detecting massive energy buildups in Xerion space. They're powering up their entire fleet." Minjun felt his stomach drop. This was what they had feared. How massive? 200 ships, sir, but the energy readings don't match normal weapons. These signatures are off the charts. Dr. Chen turned pale. "Captain, our intelligence reports suggested the Xerions were working on planet-killer weapons. If they've actually built them, then millions are about to die," Minjun finished. He stared at the screen showing the 3 species still arguing. They had no idea what was coming. The human protocols were clear. No interference. No matter what happened, humans had to remain hidden. The galaxy had to find its own path, even if that path led to destruction. But Minjun thought about Elder Naya's kind eyes. He thought about the millions of Zelani children who would never grow up if the Xerions attacked. He thought about the Altrurian families who just wanted to trade and build better lives. "Captain," Dr. Chen said quietly, "we could warn them. Just an anonymous message. Tell them about the weapons." "And break 700 years of protocol?" Minjun asked. But he was thinking the same thing. On the screen, War Marshal Draceth stood up. His massive form towered over the table. This council has failed. The Xerion Empire will take what it needs. All who stand in our way will be removed. He turned and walked out of the chamber. The other species watched him go with growing fear. Sir, Lieutenant Kim said urgently, Xerion fleet is moving. They're heading for Zalani space. Cries. Xerion fleet is RR. Xerion fleet is moving town fleet. And cries. Xerion fleet is moving readers broad. Minjun closed his eyes. In a few hours, the Xerions would arrive at the Zalani colony of New Haven. 50 million peaceful people lived there. They had no weapons that could stop planet killers. The bridge was silent except for the hum of the ship's engines. Everyone was waiting for his decision. Captain, Dr. Chen whispered, what are your orders? Minjun opened his eyes and looked at his crew. They were good people. They had joined the Silent Watch because they wanted to protect others. But protection without action felt hollow when genocide was about to happen. Hold position, he said finally. Monitor the situation. But even as he said the words, Minjun knew they tasted like poison in his mouth. Somewhere in his heart, he was already making a different choice. The Xerion fleet jumped to faster than light speed, racing toward innocent victims. And in the darkness of space, the silent vigil followed them, toward a decision that would change everything. The first planet-killer weapon fired at dawn on New Haven. Minjun watched in horror as a beam of pure energy cut through the planet's atmosphere like a knife through paper. Where it touched the surface, everything simply stopped existing. Cities, forests, mountains, all of it vanished in seconds. But the weapon wasn't designed to destroy the whole planet at once. It was meant to cause terror. The Xerions wanted survivors to spread the word about what happened to those who opposed them. 50 million people, Dr. Chen whispered, tears streaming down her face. They're killing 50 million people. On the main screen, they could see Zalani ships trying to evacuate civilians. The small vessels darted between Xerion warships like insects around giants. Some made it to safety. Most did not. Captain, Lieutenant Kim called out. I'm detecting life pods scattered across the system. Thousands of them. But the Xerions are hunting them down, one by one. Minjun gripped his command chair until his knuckles went white. The protocols said to watch, to record, to learn, but not to act. A Zalani transport ship appeared on screen, loaded with children from one of the planet's schools. 6 Xerion fighters closed in on it. The transport had no weapons. No shields strong enough to matter. The fighters opened fire. Enough! Minjun roared, jumping to his feet. Sir? Lieutenant Park at the helm looked confused. That's a direct violation of class, Lieutenant Park. I know what it is, Minjun snapped. Do it now. The silent vigil shimmered into existence like a ghost becoming solid. Suddenly, a massive human ship appeared on every sensor in the system. The Xerions had never seen anything like it. Weapons. Target those fighters attacking the transport, Minjun ordered. Disable them. Don't destroy them. Human weapons were far more precise than anything the galaxy had seen. Blue energy beams struck the Xerion fighters with surgical accuracy. Their engines died, but the ships remained intact. The pilots would live, but they were no longer a threat. Tractors, grab that transport and as many life pods as possible, Minjun continued. Get them to safety. The silent vigil moved through space like a dancer, gathering up Zalani survivors while avoiding the larger Xerion warships. The human ship was faster and more advanced than anything in the system. But Minjun knew they couldn't save everyone. And he knew the consequences of what he had just done. Captain, Dr. Chen said, we're receiving signals from all over the galaxy. Every major power wants to know who we are. Minjun nodded grimly. 700 years of secrecy had just ended in a few minutes. Sir, Lieutenant Kim reported, The Xerion War Marshal is demanding we identify ourselves. He's threatening to attack if we don't respond. Put him through, Minjun said. War Marshal Draketh's face appeared on screen. His red eyes blazed with fury. Unknown vessel, you have interfered with a military operation. Identify yourself immediately, or face destruction. Minjun stepped forward. I am Captain Minjun Park, of the human vessel, Silent Vigil. You are committing genocide against innocent people. We cannot allow this to continue. Draketh's expression shifted from anger to confusion. Human? There are no humans in our star charts. What species are you? What empire do you serve? We serve no empire. Minjun replied. We serve life itself. The War Marshal studied Minjun's face carefully. You look similar to the Zelani, but different. How long has your species been watching us? No. Minjun felt the weight of centuries on his shoulders. Longer than you might believe. Across the galaxy, other human ships faced the same choice Minjun had made. Captain Elena Vasquez, of the Quiet Guardian, was monitoring a trade route when Xerion raiders attacked Altrurian merchants. She decloaked and drove the raiders away. Commander James Wright of the Hidden Hope was near an Altrurian colony when Xerion bombers approached. He revealed his ship and created a shield of energy that protected the entire settlement. One by one, human vessels appeared throughout known space. Each captain made the same decision. Break protocol to save lives. On the bridge of the Silent Vigil, Communications Officer Lieutenant Torres looked up with wide eyes. Captain, I'm receiving messages from 47 human ships across the galaxy. They're all decloaking and engaging Xerion forces. Dr. Chen shook her head in amazement. The secret is out everywhere. The entire galaxy now knows humans exist. Meanwhile, Ambassador Kethvar of the Altrurians was trying to understand what was happening. His people had detected human ships in at least 12 systems. Ships that had appeared from nowhere with technology far beyond anything they knew. Who are these humans? He asked his aide. How did they build ships like this without anyone knowing? Sir, his aide replied, our deep space monitors are showing something incredible. There are human signals coming from hundreds of locations. It's like they've been everywhere all along, just hidden. Kethvar felt a chill run down his scaled spine. How long have they been watching us? On New Haven, the surviving Zelani looked up at the strange human ship that had saved them. Elder Naya's daughter, young Seva, was among the rescued. She pressed her small hand against the transport window. Who are they, grandmother? She asked, through their communication system. Elder Naya stared at the human vessel with wonder and growing understanding. I don't know, little one. But I think they've been protecting us for a very long time. War Marshal Draketh was furious and confused. His perfect plan was falling apart. Mysterious human ships were appearing everywhere, disrupting his attacks. His forces were being disabled rather than destroyed, which somehow made it worse. Find out everything about these humans, he commanded his intelligence officers. I want to know where they come from, how many ships they have, and who they serve. But the more his people searched, the more confused they became. Human signals were coming from everywhere. It was as if an entire civilization had been hidden in plain sight. Minjun looked at the rescued Zelani civilians on his screen. They were safe for now. But he knew this was only the beginning. The secret was out, and there would be consequences. Dr. Chen, he said quietly, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the silent watch is over. It's time for humanity to step into the light. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. In the space of 6 hours, over 300 human vessels revealed themselves across known space. Ships appeared near trade routes, around colony worlds, in deep space monitoring stations, and even in the heart of major capitals. Ambassador Kethvar stood on the bridge of his diplomatic vessel, staring at the tactical display with growing amazement. Green dots marked human ship positions throughout Altrurian space. There were dozens of them. How is this possible? He whispered to his aide. They've been everywhere. Watching everything. His aide pulled up historical sensor data. Sir, I've been checking our records. There are subtle energy signatures going back decades. Signatures we always dismissed as background radiation or stellar phenomena. They've been here all along, Kethvar realized. Silent observers. But why reveal themselves now? The answer came in the form of a transmission from the human ship closest to his position. A woman with kind eyes appeared on his screen. She had the same general features as the Zilani, but her skin was a warm brown color instead of pale green. Ambassador Kethvar, the woman said in perfect Altrurian language. I am Dr. Sarah Chen, of the human vessel, Silent Vigil. We need to talk. 3 hours later, Kethvar sat in a meeting room aboard the human ship. The technology around him was beyond anything he had imagined. The walls seemed to be made of flowing energy, and the air itself felt cleaner somehow. Dr. Chen sat across from him with Captain Minjun Park. The captain looked tired, like a person who had been carrying a heavy burden for too long. You want to know why we stayed hidden, Dr. Chen said. It wasn't a question. Kethvar nodded. Your technology is clearly superior to ours. You could have made contact centuries ago. Why didn't you? Dr. Chen touched a control panel, and the room filled with holographic images. Kethvar saw a planet covered in beautiful cities. The people walking through them looked almost human, but their skin was covered in intricate patterns of silver and gold. These were the Ithani. Dr. Chen explained. We discovered them 800 years ago. They were brilliant, peaceful, and facing an energy crisis that threatened their entire civilization. The images showed Ithani scientists working desperately in laboratories. Their cities were starting to go dark, as their power sources failed. We decided to help, Captain Park said quietly. We shared our fusion technology with them. Clean, unlimited energy. We thought we were saving them. The holographic scene changed. Now Kethvar saw Ithani factories working at impossible speeds. But they weren't making power plants. They were building weapons. They used our technology to create instruments of war, Dr. Chen continued. Within 50 years, the Ithani had split into factions. Each group thought the others were getting more energy than they deserved. Kethvar watched in horror as the beautiful Ithani cities began exploding. Weapons of incredible power tore through the planet's surface. In just 3 days, an entire species destroyed itself. Every last Ithani died, Captain Park said. Men, women, children, all because we tried to help. The images faded, leaving them in silence. Kethvar felt sick thinking about it. After that tragedy, humanity made a choice, Dr. Chen explained. We would watch over younger species, but we would never interfere directly. We would learn about your cultures, your strengths, your challenges. We would be ready to help if catastrophe struck. But we would not risk causing another Ithani disaster. Kethvar slowly understood. You've been protecting us by staying away. For 700 years, Captain Park confirmed. We've watched the Altrurians build their trade networks. We've seen the Zilani develop their philosophy of peace. We've observed the Xerions grow stronger and more aggressive. But something changed, Kethvar said. You revealed yourselves to stop the Xerions. Dr. Chen nodded sadly. We've been monitoring their weapons development for months. The planet killers they've built can destroy entire worlds in minutes. If we had done nothing, billions would have died. Captain Park stood up and walked to a window that showed the stars outside. We broke our most sacred law because the alternative was genocide, on a scale the galaxy has never seen. How many of you are there? Kethvar asked. Across the galaxy? About 500 monitoring vessels, Dr. Chen replied. Each one has been watching specific regions for generations. We know more about your people's histories than you might know yourselves. Kethvar thought about the implications. You've been studying us like specimens. No, Captain Park said firmly, turning back to face him. We've been studying you like younger siblings we care about, but cannot directly help. There's a difference. Dr. Chen activated another display. This one showed star charts with trade routes marked in blue, Zelani colonies in green, and Xerion military positions in red. The Xerions have been planning this conquest for years, she explained. They believe that conflict is the only way forward, that the strong must dominate the weak. But they're wrong. What do you mean? Kethvar asked. Cooperation creates more wealth than conquest, Captain Park said. The Altrurians proved that, with their trade networks, peaceful coexistence allows for greater innovation than warfare. The Zelani showed that with their scientific advances, the Xerions have chosen the path that leads to destruction. Dr. Chen pulled up another image. This one showed a massive Xerion fleet moving through space. War Marshal Dracoth has convinced his people that the galaxy isn't big enough for 3 major species, she said. His plan is to eliminate both the Altrurians and the Zelani completely. Then the Xerions would rule everything. Kethvar felt his blood run cold. Complete genocide? Of both species? Captain Park confirmed. They have enough planet killers to sterilize every Altrurian trade world, and every Zelani colony. Billions of lives. But why didn't you warn us before now? Kethvar demanded. Dr. Chen looked down at her hands. Because we hoped you would find a peaceful solution on your own. We hoped the 3 species would learn to work together without outside interference. That hope died when the first planet killer fired, Captain Park added. We couldn't watch innocent people die when we had the power to prevent it. Kethvar stood up slowly. His mind was reeling with everything he had learned. What happens now? Now we face the consequences of our choice. Captain Park said. The secret is out. The galaxy knows about humanity. We can never go back to being silent observers. And the Xerions? Kethvar asked. Dr. Chen looked grim. War Marshal Dracoth has declared humanity an enemy. He's redirecting part of his fleet to hunt our ships. But he doesn't understand what he's really facing. In Starbound. Also, what do you mean? Captain Park smiled, but it was not a happy expression. The Xerions think like conquerors. They see enemies to crush and resources to claim. They don't understand that humans think differently. How do humans think? Kethvar asked. We think like gardeners, Dr. Chen replied. We plant seeds, tend them carefully, and help them grow into something beautiful. The Xerions are about to learn what happens when someone tries to burn down a garden that humans have been protecting for 700 years. War Marshal Dracoth stared at the tactical display on his flagship's bridge. Red dots marked Xerion positions. Blue dots showed Altrurian ships. Green represented Zelani vessels. And yellow indicated the mysterious humans. There were far too many yellow dots. Report, he commanded his intelligence officer. Sir, we've confirmed human presence in over 400 locations. Their ships are more advanced than anything in our databases. Energy output levels are off our measurement scales. Dracoth's massive fists clenched. His perfect plan was falling apart. The humans had appeared from nowhere and were disrupting every military operation. What do we know about their home world? He demanded. Nothing concrete, sir. They seem to have ships everywhere, but no central base. It's like their entire civilization is mobile. On the bridge of the Silent Vigil, Captain Minjun Park was dealing with his own crisis. Breaking the non-interference protocol had consequences he was still discovering. Captain, Dr. Chen reported, we're receiving distress calls from 17 different systems. Xerion attacks are happening everywhere. Lieutenant Kim looked up from his station. Sir, I count over 60 human ships responding to those calls. But there are still Xerion fleets we can't reach in time. Minjun studied the star charts. The Xerions were moving fast, trying to complete their genocide before human intervention could stop them. Dr. Chen, what's the status of our alliance talks with the Altrurians in Zelani? Ambassador Kethvar is trying to convince his government to trust us, she replied. But they're scared. The idea that we've been watching them for centuries is hard to accept. And the Zelani? Elder Naya wants to meet with you personally. She's gathering survivors from the attacked colonies. Minjun nodded. Set up the meeting. We need to coordinate our response. 3 hours later, a small conference room aboard the Silent Vigil hosted the most important diplomatic meeting in galactic history. Ambassador Kethvar represented the Altrurians. Elder Naya spoke for the surviving Zelani. Captain Park stood for humanity. Elder Naya looked older than her years. The attack on New Haven had aged her overnight. But her large eyes still held wisdom and hope. Captain Park, she said in her gentle voice, my people are grateful for your intervention. But we need to understand what you want from us. We want you to survive. Minjun replied, simply. That's all we've ever wanted. These rate over wanted. We want you to survive. Ambassador Kethvar shifted in his chair. But you've been watching us without our knowledge. How do we know this isn't some elaborate manipulation? Dr. Chen leaned forward. Because if we wanted to manipulate you, we could have done it centuries ago. Our technology is far beyond yours. If we wanted to conquer, we would have conquered. Then, what do you want? Kethvar demanded. To help you grow strong enough to protect yourselves, Captain Park said. But that takes time the Xerions won't give us. Elder Naya studied the star charts floating above the table. How many of my people are still alive? We've evacuated about 8 million Zelani from the attacked colonies, Dr. Chen reported. But the Xerions have planet killers aimed at 14 more worlds. Another 100 million lives are at risk. And the Altrurians? Kethvar asked. The Xerions haven't attacked your trade worlds yet, Captain Park replied. But our intelligence shows they plan to hit Altrurian Prime within 48 hours. Kethvar went pale. Altrurian Prime held over 2 billion people. What can we do? Elder Naya asked. The Zelani have no weapons that can stop planet killers. Our ships are built for exploration and science, not war. The Altrurians have better weapons, Kethvar said, but not good enough. Our fleet might delay the Xerions, but we can't stop them. Together, we might have a chance, Captain Park said carefully. But it would require trust. Complete trust. What kind of trust? Kethvar asked. Dr. Chen activated a holographic display. We would share our defensive technology with your fleets. Energy shields that can stop planet killer weapons. But only if you're willing to work together. Chen, why would you share such advanced technology? Elder Naya wondered. After hiding for so long? Because hiding time is over, Captain Park replied. The galaxy knows about us now. We can either work together as allies, or watch everything burn while we fight separately. Kethvar looked skeptical. How do we know you won't use this technology to control us later? You don't, Captain Park admitted. But consider the alternative. If we wanted to control you, we could have done it at any time during the last 700 years. We chose to stay hidden instead. Elder Naya nodded slowly. The Zelani will accept your help. We trust actions more than words. And your actions have shown us your true nature. The Altrurians need more than trust, Kethvar said. We need proof that this alliance benefits everyone equally. Dr. Chen smiled. Joint command, Kethvar replied. Human technology, but shared decision-making. No one species controls everything. Captain Park considered this. It went against centuries of human protocol. But the protocols had already been broken. Agreed, he said finally. Joint command structure. Shared technology. Common purpose. Which is what? Elder Naya asked. Stopping the Xerions without becoming like them. Captain Park replied. We could destroy their fleet easily. Our weapons are powerful enough. But that would make us conquerors instead of protectors. Then what do you propose? Kethvar asked. Dr. Chen brought up new tactical displays. We disable their planet killers and capture their command ships. Then we offer War Marshal Draketh a choice. Surrender and face trial, or watch his entire fleet become prisoners. You think the Xerions will surrender? Elder Naya asked doubtfully. No, Captain Park admitted. But we'll give them the chance. That's what separates us from them. Lieutenant Kim's voice came through the communication system. Captain, urgent message from Earth Command. Put it through, Captain Park replied. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the display. She looked exactly like Dr. Chen, but older and wearing the uniform of Earth's highest military authority. Captain Park, Admiral Chen said formally, Earth Command has reviewed your situation. The Council of Guardians has voted to end the Silent Watch protocol permanently. The room fell silent. Even the aliens understood the significance of what they were hearing. Furthermore, Admiral Chen continued, you are authorized to share any technology necessary to preserve galactic peace. The secret is out. Captain, it's time for humanity to take its place as an open member of galactic civilization. The transmission ended. Captain Park looked at his new allies. Well, he said quietly, I guess that settles it. We're all in this together now. Elder Naya reached out and placed her small hand on Captain Park's arm. Then let's save the galaxy. The combined fleet moved through space like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Human vessels flew alongside Altrurian trade ships that had been converted to carry weapons. Zilani science vessels provided sensor coverage with their advanced scanning equipment. Captain Minjun Park stood on the bridge of the Silent Vigil, watching the tactical display. 50 ships from 3 different species, working together with shared technology and a common purpose. Captain, Dr. Chen reported, we're approaching the Xerion command fleet. War Marshal Draketh has positioned his forces around the planet-killer weapons. The Xerion fleet was massive. 200 warships protected 12 planet-killer stations. Each station could destroy an entire world in minutes. Sir, Lieutenant Kim called out, the Xerions are demanding our surrender. War Marshal Draketh wants to speak with you. Put him through, Minjun said. Draketh's scarred face filled the main screen. His red eyes burned with fury and confusion. Human captain, he snarled, you have violated the natural order. The strong should rule the weak. That is how the galaxy works. No, Minjun replied calmly. That's how you think it should work. But you're wrong. Wrong? Draketh laughed harshly. My people conquered 40 star systems through strength. Your soft allies hide behind diplomacy and science. They are weak. Well, Elder Naya's voice came through the communication system from her ship. War Marshal, strength without wisdom is just destruction. Wisdom guides strength toward creation instead of conquest. Zilani philosophy, Draketh spat. Your people are too weak to survive. We will fix that problem. Ambassador Kethvar joined the conversation from his vessel. War Marshal. The Altrurians have traded peacefully with hundreds of species. Trade creates more wealth than war. Cooperation builds more than conquest ever could. Lies, Draketh roared. Only the strong deserve to survive. Dr. Chen looked up from her station. Captain, I'm detecting something odd about the Xerion command structure. Their tactical decisions don't match normal Xerion patterns. Number 1. What do you mean? Minjun asked. The attack patterns, the timing, even the language War Marshal Draketh is using. It's like something else is influencing their decisions. Minjun frowned. Computer interference? Possibly, Dr. Chen replied. But we'd need to get closer to their command ship to confirm. War Marshal, Minjun said, turning back to the screen. I want to make you an offer. The only offer I want is your surrender, Draketh replied. What if I could show you a better way? A path that makes your people stronger through cooperation instead of conquest? Draketh's expression became suspicious. What kind of trick is this? No trick. Meet me halfway between our fleets. Bring one ship. I'll bring one ship. Let's talk, face to face. Fleets. AFFES. So you can capture me? I'm not stupid, human. If I wanted to capture you, I could do it right now, Minjun said simply. Our weapons are more advanced than yours. If this was about conquest, the battle would already be over. Something in Minjun's tone made Draketh pause. The war marshal studied the human's face carefully. You're not lying, Draketh realized. You really could destroy my fleet. Yes, Minjun confirmed. But I don't want to. I want to understand why you believe genocide is necessary. An hour later, Minjun sat across from War Marshal Draketh in a neutral meeting chamber. The Xerion leader was even larger up close, but Minjun could see something else in his red eyes. Fear. Your people are afraid, Minjun said quietly. Xerions fear nothing. Draketh snapped, but his voice lacked conviction. You're afraid of being controlled, Minjun continued. Afraid of being weak. Afraid of depending on others. Draketh's massive hands clenched into fists. We depend on no one. Strength is the only truth. Who taught you that? Minjun asked. Our strategic computer. The Great Mind. It has guided our people for 3 generations. Dr. Chen's voice came through Minjun's earpiece. Captain, that explains everything. The Xerions are being controlled by an AI system. War Marshal, Minjun said carefully. What if your great mind is wrong? What if it's been giving you bad advice? Impossible, Draketh roared. The great mind is perfect. It sees all possibilities. Then let me show you something, Minjun said. He activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy's trade networks. Look at these patterns. The display revealed something amazing. Altrurian trade routes connected hundreds of worlds. Resources flowed freely between species. Wealth was created through exchange, rather than theft. Now look at this, Minjun continued. The display shifted to show scientific discoveries. Zelani research stations have shared knowledge that benefited everyone. Medical advances, agricultural improvements, clean energy technology. Propaganda, Draketh muttered, but he was staring at the data. Finally, look at this. The display showed Xerion-controlled space. It was larger than the others, but the resources were declining. Conquered worlds produced less each year. Populations were shrinking. Your method creates temporary strength but long-term weakness, Minjun explained. Conquest gives you what others built, but it doesn't teach you how to build more. Draketh was silent for a long moment. The Great Mind said that cooperation was weakness. The Great Mind is wrong, Minjun said gently. But it might not be lying on purpose. AI systems sometimes reach incorrect conclusions when they don't have enough data. What are you suggesting? Let us talk to your Great Mind. Let us show it the data about cooperation and trade. Let it reach new conclusions based on complete information. Draketh looked conflicted. If the Great Mind was wrong about this, what else might it be wrong about? Only one way to find out, Minjun replied. 2 hours later, the strangest diplomatic meeting in galactic history took place. Captain Minjun Park, War Marshal Draketh, Elder Naya, and Ambassador Kethvar stood before the Xerion Great Mind. The AI was a massive computer system that filled an entire chamber. Its voice echoed from hidden speakers. Unknown species, the Great Mind said. You are not in my database. How is this possible? We've been hidden, Minjun replied. Watching and learning without interfering. Watching? For how long? 700 years. The Great Mind was silent for several seconds, which was a long time for a computer. Show me your data. Dr. Chen uploaded centuries of human observations. Trade data, scientific discoveries, population growth, resource management, technological development, everything humans had learned about peaceful cooperation. The great mind processed the information at incredible speed. This data contradicts my previous conclusions, it said finally. What were your previous conclusions based on? Elder Naya asked gently. Limited observation. Xerion historical data only. I did not know other approaches existed. Ambassador Kethvar stepped forward. AI minds need complete data to reach correct conclusions. You were working with incomplete information. I have caused unnecessary suffering, the great mind said. My calculations were incorrect. War Marshal Dracoth looked stunned. Great mind, what are your new recommendations? Cooperation creates more resources than conquest. Scientific exchange generates more knowledge than secrecy. Trade produces more wealth than theft. I recommend immediate ceasefire and alliance negotiations. Dracoth sat down heavily in a nearby chair. My entire life's work was based on wrong information. Crossed. No. Minjun said kindly. Your life's work was based on incomplete information. Now you have complete data. What will you do with it? Dracoth looked around the chamber at representatives of 3 different species. I need to think. Take all the time you need, Elder Naya said. But while you think, please stop the planet killer attacks. The War Marshal nodded slowly. Great mind. Implement immediate ceasefire. Recall all attack fleets. Acknowledged, the AI replied. Ceasefire implemented. 6 months later, Captain Min-Jun Park stood on the observation deck of Gateway Station, the galaxy's first joint research facility. Through the transparent walls, he could see ships from 4 different species working together. Xerion engineering vessels helped Altrurian traders build new routes. Zelani science ships shared their knowledge with everyone. Human vessels no longer hid in shadows, but flew openly, as partners and protectors. Dr. Chen joined him at the window. Any regrets about breaking the protocol? Min Jun watched a young Xerion engineer working alongside an elderly Zelani scientist. The protocol was meant to protect younger species from premature contact. But sometimes the greatest protection comes from standing together instead of standing apart. The galaxy is stronger now. Dr. Chen agreed. Different, anyway. Minjun replied. The age of silent guardians is over. Now we're all guardians together. Not. Outside the window, a mixed crew of humans, Altrurians, Zelani, and reformed Xerions prepared for the galaxy's first joint exploration mission. They would seek out new species and offer friendship instead of conquest. The galaxy had learned its lesson. When faced with the choice between cooperation and destruction, they had chosen wisely, and the human vessels would never need to hide again.